Welcome friends to this another lecture, and the topic is on your screen. We are going to discuss on a very important topic, that is role of cinema as social pedagogy. Equally interesting. The subtopic is transmission of knowledge traditions. How cinema played very important role in preservation and transmission of the knowledge traditions. In that perspective, we have set certain agenda for discussion. How cinema affects social life. Cinema as medium of knowledge transmission, cinema as social pedagogy, representation of social norms by cinema, educational cinema, and national development. So these are certain points that come to my mind. So let's have a discussion. What is cinema? If we try to define cinema, cinema is a form of visual storytelling. It is using moving images, sound dialogues, motion pictures, music, and performance to convey narratives or the messages. It's a powerful artistic medium combining various art forms like literature, music, drama, painting, photography, and sketches, and different dialogue delivery. And you see that people also make some innovations in the form of certain quotations or certain types of sentences and actions and so on. Cinema is a mass medium that reaches a wide audience, making it influential in shaping public opinion, culture, and social behavior. And again, you see that what's the purpose of cinema? Basically, entertainment is one of the foremost purposes, and then education and awareness may also be one of the important purposes in modern social scenario, where it educates about social issues like history, health, environment, and human values. For example, certain movies are there, Tare Zameen Par, Swades, and so on. You see, cultural preservation is also one of the important functions that cinema performs. It preserves and promotes cultural heritage, traditions, languages, and customs. If you wish to visit 60s and 70s decade India, then you may go through the cinema. That culture is preserved on silver screen. So in that way, cultural preservation is very important function. Then social change, it acts as a catalyst for social transformation by addressing injustices, inequalities, and taboos, stereotypes in the society. Often they raise the questions which challenge the very social fabric or some those activities which harm the society in the name of superstition or in the name of religious activities that also may be harmful for the society if they are manipulated, if religion is manipulated, if culture is manipulated, if anything is misrepresented. So cinema first of all takes the responsibility and raises such issues that may be harmful for the social fabric. So in that way, emotional expression is also there. It expresses complex human emotions and experiences, allowing people to relate and reflect the real side of all such human emotions. Like the emotions attached to the religion are reflected in many cinemas. Some spiritual songs, spiritual situation, or the worship, devotion, the cultural practices, ritualistic practices, they are all emotionally represented in Indian cinema. So people become very much acquainted with the culture of others, as well as they come close to their own culture. So in that way, emotional or emotive aspect is very strong reflection of cinema. Then political and ideological expression, it reflects and critiques political systems, ideologies, and societal power structures. Artistic expression is also very important purpose of cinema. It provides a platform for creative and aesthetic innovation by directors, writers, and artists, musicians, and dialogue delivery or dialogue writers. Inspiration and motivation. It inspires individuals and societies to dream, strive, and act through powerful stories and characters. So here we can have certain examples, illustrations from Indian cinema decade-wise. Certain eras and major films and dominated themes in these three columns. We try to put to understand the idea of Indian cinemas. Silent era 1910s, 1920, Raja Harishan and Lanka Dahan. The theme which were dominated, mythology, Indian epics, morality, nationalism. And when we come to the 1930s, early talkies, Alam Ara 1931, Achut Kanya 1936, these movies reflect the theme social reform, caste, discrimination, love and devotion. Then 1940s or pre and post independence India, Neecha Nagar 1946 and Shaheed 1948, they reflect the theme of freedom struggle, poverty, class divide, nationalism. Then 1950s, it is considered as the golden age. Do Biga Zameen by Bimal Roy 1953, Mother India 1957, Pyasa 1957 by Guru Dutt, one of the legendary film directors. The theme covered by these movies, land struggle, poverty, social justice, women's sacrifices. And you see how the themes are changing, how the idea of India is changing, idea of society is changing, and how Indian cinema is contributing and disseminating those ideas. In 1960s, we see Guide 1965, Mera Naam Joker 1969 by legendary filmmaker Raj Kapoor, the showman of India. Then Upkar, another legendary filmmaker Manoj Kumar, he is also known as the Bharat Kumar, famous for his movies on patriotism, patriotic themes. So these movies also cover individualism, spiritual conflict, patriotism, rural idealism and so on, because at that time the 5-year plans were also there and India was passing through a transformative phase. Society was constructing and reconstructing the ideas and it was converting into a new form. Industrialization was introduced, educational arena and commercial arena and also the cultural arena, all were expanding and all were flourishing in multiple ways. So Indian cinema was also providing guidance and reflecting the innovative ideas in the form of these themes. Earth, Masala, Mirch Masala, Gandhi 1982, they covered feminism, rural oppression, political critique, biopics. Some biopics were also introduced during that period, which reflected the life story or the biography of legendary people like Gandhi reflects the biography of Mahatma Gandhi. Anand 1971, Zanjeer 1973, Sholay 75, Diwar 75. This was the age of 1970s when death, justice, corruption, youth, unrest, rebellion, campus life and the life of the criminals and also their the society, how society is changing its structure on the basis of the influence of capitalism and influence of overemphasis on materialistic life, how society is changing. These various dimensions of society were reflected by these movies, cinema. And 1990s, you see that this is known as the liberalization era, LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization. During that period, you see Roja, terrorism was one of the important challenges emerged during these decades all over the world. Bombay, Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, particularly Bombay raises and Roja raises the issue of communal violence as well as the threats of the terrorism, love versus tradition, communal harmony, diaspora, identity. So these were the new themes which emerged in 1990s, and then 2000 the multiplex boom was there, talkies, cinema, halls were changed into the new scenario, new socio-economic culture. Rang De Basanti, Tare Zameen Par Swades, these movies were extraordinary from the point of view of their themes, what they addressed, youth activism, education, where this time education was considered as one of the important themes as a protagonist as a of the cinema. So that plays these themes played very important role. NRI's issues, social awakening, and so on. And then you see 2010s and 20s socially conscious mainstream like Article 15, just recent movie of 2019, then Padman, 2018, then Pink, 2016, and Thappad, recently 2020 movies. They raises the very prominent issues of modern society, casteism, gender discrimination, gender justice, health issues, consent, constitutional values, and taboos and stereotypes related to the women world. These themes were addressed by the cinema. How cinema affects social life. Shaping public opinion, one of the very important functions of cinema. Here are certain examples. Cinema brings attention to pressing social issues, influencing how people think and talk about them. For example, Article 15 raised awareness about caste discrimination and inspired public discourses on social justice. And cinema also influences the behavior and attitude. Film affects people's attitude towards gender roles, relationships, ethics, and social norms. For example, Pink, 2016 movie. It challenged patriarchal thinking and promoted the idea of consent and women's autonomy. Then cinema also played important role in creating social awareness and empathy. For example, Tare Zameen Par, 2007 movie by Amir Khan. It fostered empathy towards children with learning disabilities and changed attitude in schools and families. So Indian society, a large section of educational arena came to be known, touched with the psychological issues with children like disability, autism, or certain dyslexia or dyscalculia types of psychological problems, and they addressed more forcefully. Apart from the textbook discussions, they just treated those things and dealt with those things, issues with the children in a greater force with larger motivation out of the efforts of such movies. Then again you see inspiring social movements like Rang De Basanti, and then cinema portrays unity in diversity like Amar Akbar and Thoni, Communal Harmony, and then it also breaks the social taboos. For example, Padman, Aligarh. These movies raises the issues of menstrual hygiene on the part of stereotype related concern to the women, and LGBTQ rights and discrimination. And then again you see it also impact on youth culture and aspirations. For example, Three Idiots, it led to discussions on education system, parental pressure, and following one's passion. Then influencing family and gender roles. Cinema has both reinforced and challenged traditional family structures and gender expectations. For example, Queen, 2014, Kangna Ranaut movie. It depicted female independence and breaking away from societal norms. Then social integration of diaspora, the Indians living in foreign countries for longer time. So what they feel and how they contribute to this nation also in multiple ways. So film connects the Indian diaspora with their roots and help integrate different generations. For example, Swades, 2004 Shah Rukh Khan movie, and Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, 1995. They portray the emotional bond between NRIs and India. Then social pedagogy. What is that? Meaning of social pedagogy includes the science and art of education in its social context. It studies how educational practices contribute to personal development and social integration. In simple terms, we can say social pedagogy means educating a person to live meaningfully, responsibly, and cooperatively within society. Then what is the purpose of social pedagogy? The first purpose is socialization, to help individuals internalize social values, norms, and ethics. Citizenship education, to prepare learners to become responsible, participative citizens. Then community cohesion, to promote harmony, cooperation, and empathy among individuals. Then social welfare, to prevent marginalization and support vulnerable groups. Then democratization of education, to make education inclusive and participatory. Then value education, to inculcate moral and civic values for peaceful coexistence. So these are the purposes of social pedagogy. Indian tradition always viewed education as a social act, education for life, not just for livelihood. For example, Gurukul system was based on community-centered and value-based education. Tagore's Shanti Niketan in West Bengal, you see, it is education through nature based on the principles of Gurukuls and ideas of Gurukuls, community life and creativity. Then Mahatma Gandhi's Nai Talim, learning through socially useful productive work, that was also included as the recommendation of Kothari Commission and Madaliar Ayog, socially useful productive work. that was based on Gandhi's idea of Nai Talim, that is the work education. In that way, Indian educational thought naturally aligns with the spirit of social pedagogy. So in that way, you see traditional social values in Indian society would include respect for elders, obedience and discipline, truthfulness, that is satya, non-violence, ahimsa, compassion and kindness, that is karuna, humility, vinaya, gratitude, kritagyata, and the tolerance and patience, that is sankalp shakti, or the what you say, the hospitality, atithi devo bhava, sahan shakti, tolerance, and cooperation and community living. And some other values in Indian society, traditional values, would also include unity in diversity, loyalty to family and nation, and hard work, simplicity, contentment, harmony with nature, and so on. So this is a very concise list of Indian traditional values. How these social values are inculcated and disseminated through cinema. That's another important aspect. These social values are transmitted and transformed and disseminated to the Indian masses, and cinema is one of the very important and very useful media towards the dissemination of these values. For example, Mother India 1957. So I'll give you certain examples from these movies in the form of the dialogue and the theme of Indian values, what they reflect. For example, Mother India 1957. मैं अपने बच्चों को भूखा रहने दे सकती हूँ लेकिन बेइज्जत नहीं. I can let my children starve but not be dishonored. Theme is self-respect and sacrifice. And another movie is Ananda 1971. जिंदगी बड़ी होनी चाहिए लंबी नहीं. Life should be big, not long. The theme is quality of life, living with purpose. This is very important movie, and very legendary actors played important roles in these movies. Amitabh Bachchan and Rajesh Khanna, both are superstars of their time. Then दो बीघा ज़मीन 1953. मजदूर का पसीना सूखने से पहले उसकी मजदूरी मिलनी चाहिए. A laborer must be paid before his sweat diets. The theme is justice, labor rights. From दो बीघा ज़मीन, where Balraj Sahni played the memorable role. प्यासा 1957 गुरुदत्त मूवी. जिन्हें नाज है हिंद पर वो कहाँ हैं? Where are those who take pride in India? The theme was social hypocrisy, critic of empty patriotism. Gurudutt himself played very memorable role in this movie. Then Guide 1965 by legendary actor Devanand and actress Wahida Rahman. One of the dialogues, इंसान तभी तक इंसान है जब तक वो दूसरों के लिए जीता है. A human is human as long as he lives for others. The theme covered by this dialogue is altruism, spiritual growth. All are these Indian values which are being disseminated by Indian cinema through dialogues. Then Shri 420, very legendary actor and showman of Indian cinema, Raj Kapoor, played very memorable role. In 1955, सच्चाई की आदत डालना मुश्किल है लेकिन ज़रूरी. Getting used to truth is hard but necessary. The theme is truth versus deception. Then Sujata 1959 by Sunil Dutt and Nutan. प्रेम और सम्मान जाति नहीं देखता. Love and respect see no caste. Theme is caste equality, human dignity. Then again you see Naya Daur 1955. This is very important movie, very ground shaking movie at that time in 1957, when the India was transforming between the agrarian economy and industrialization. So in that way industrialization was increasing. So this movie raises the issue of the challenges of industrialization and threats to the agrarian economy. So this movie says in one of the dialogues, अकेले कुछ नहीं होता, साथ चलने से ही रास्ते बनते हैं. Nothing happens alone, paths are made by walking together. The theme covered by this movie, community, unity, development. And scenes and dialogues, like honesty is one of the Indian values. You see in this movie, film Satyakam 1969, when Satya Priya refuses to accept a bribe even when his family is suffering. The dialogue is, मैं झूठ के सहारे जीना नहीं चाहता, सच्चाई के लिए मरना बेहतर है. The value depicted by this dialogue is a man's relentless pursuit of truth and integrity even at great personal cost. Then film Do Bhiga Zameen 1953 again, scene Shambhu refuses to steal or cheat even when working as a rickshaw puller to save his band. The dialogue, "Main mazdoor hu, chor nahi." The value depicted by this scene, honesty and dignity in labor. Then again film Garm Hawa 1973, scene is Salim Mirza's decision to stay in India despite partition pressure. The dialogue, "मुझे अपने मुल्क पर भरोसा है, ये मेरे लिए सिर्फ ज़मीन नहीं मिट्टी का प्यार है." The value covered by this dialogue is secularism, faith in the nation and brotherhood. And again film Amar Akbar Anthony 1977, the scene is the three brothers, Hindu, Muslim and Christian, donate blood to their mother at the same time. Symbolism is unity of religions. Then again film Rang De Basanti 2006, the scene is DJ and friends realize the meaning of real freedom and sacrifice. Then the dialogue is, कोई भी देश perfect नहीं होता, उसे perfect बनाना पड़ता है. The value covered by this dialogue is patriotism, active citizenship, love for the nation. Then film Border 1997, you see the scene is Indian soldiers write letters to their families before the final battle. The dialogue is, माँ अगर मैं वापस ना आऊँ तो रो मत, माँ तुझे सलाम. The value is determination, self-belief, relentless effort. Then again, film Tare Zameen Par 2007, the value is humanism, the theme is humanism. Scene is Nikum helps Ishan, Nikum is the teacher, the role played by Amir Khan, helps Ishan rediscover himself through compassion and art. The dialogue is, हर बच्चा special होता है, every child is special. The value is empathy, belief in human potentials. Then another movie, Munna Bhai MBBS 2003, very popular movie. Scene is Munna applies, Munna the role played by Sunil Dutt. Munna applies जादू की झप्पी and गांधीगिरी to help patients. Dialogue, सिर्फ दवा नहीं, दर्द भी समझना पड़ता है. What a legendary dialogue. Value, humanity in medicine and daily life, Gandhian values of love and sympathy. Then all such things, such instances, such examples are scattered here and there. I have chosen very few examples. You may explore more. Cinema preserving and transmitting Indian knowledge traditions. For example, Satyajit Ray, the legendary director of Bengali cinema, Pather Panchali 1951, rural Bengali life, family practices, village festivals, oral storytelling and everyday life, word knowledge are all preserved in the reminiscences of Bengali culture of those eras before independence and just after independence. They are all preserved in such movies. Then Jalsa Ghar, another movie 1958, you see. Classical music culture, patronage systems and the aesthetics of performance, this is preserved. If you wish to visit 1958 movie Jalsa Ghar, you will be acquainted with the classical traditions of dances and music. Then Telugu cinema, if you see, some movies are there, Sagar Sangamam and classical music, classical dances, they are all from the Telugu culture. And Muzaffar Ali Urdu cinema, Umrao Jan Ada, that was a novel on the basis of that novel by Mirza Hadi Ruswa. This movie was based, Umrao Jan Ada, that presents the culture of Lucknow or the Awadh, courtesans, ethos, Urdu ghazal tradition and etiquettes of classical dance, performances, spaces, pronunciation of Urdu literature and Urdu culture and culture of that time, the Nawab's culture or the Awadh culture of music, dance and traditions and language and tehzeeb and all that, they are all preserved in such cinema. And if you wish to visit the Indian knowledge traditions depicted in these ways, then you may visit to this cinema. And again, devotional and mythological media, cinema preserving and transmitting again Indian knowledge traditions through these ways. Popular films and TV serials like based on epics, the Ramayana and Mahabharata and others have reintroduced and transmitted the core of Indian traditions to next generations. During 90s, you see that Ramayana and Mahabharata, they were recreated for the television. And by Ramanand Sagar, Ramayana was introduced and B.R. Chopra made and directed and produced the Mahabharata. And these two epics were made a revolution in Indian, and a spiritual or the social revolution in Indian society, where people who were not acquainted with these epics, they were just acquainted in the name of the religious books. Like, they also came in contact with the values and humanitarian aspects of these epics, and they came to know, the Indian society came to know that these books are not confined only to a particular religion. Rather, these are the books of humanity, these are the books for all the time, for all the people. These are the books of the entire humanity. These are not merely the religious books. So the magical effect of cinema and the TV and this digital media is you can say beyond explanation. You cannot describe the power of media in that way, if it is used for a fruitful and constructive purpose to construct the society rather than disturb the society. They transmit epics, bhakti poetry, and ritual narratives to mass audiences, shaping popular religious literacy, classical music and dance-centric films, and then films like Baiju Bawra, Navrang, Jhanak Jhanak Payal Baje. They all brought the traditions of ragas, tals, and dance forms and repertoires into everyday popular culture. So, educational cinema and knowledge traditions, like you see, many cinema, they are based on the theme of education, a means of transmitting culture. Through cinematic representation, movies preserve and transmit basic Indian traditions of knowledge, attitude, and great achievements of the past to next generation. Recently, many movies are also exploring the legendary personalities in India that contributed and played very important role, like Ramanujam and Shakuntala Devi. Recently, the movies on their biography are available. And then you see characteristic, if we talk about of educational cinema, then purpose driven content, like the main goal is to educate, not just entertain, like Tare Zameen Par focuses on learning disabilities and child psychology. Value based things are there, like Satyakam emphasizes truth and integrity. Realistic and relatable characters, like Manjhi is very popular movies. Popular means very emotional movie that describes the story of a person who is known as Manjhi, the mountain man, a true story about the determination. Characters often represent common people facing real life challenges. This is the person who faces the challenges of the water crisis, and one day his wife dies in an accident while fetching the water from a far off river. So in between the river and the village, there was a big mountain. So around in 25 years or 20 years, he just took the responsibility and he just removed that mountain from the way. So that's why he is also known as the mountain man. His story is very popular, and recently he was also awarded by the Indian government, President of India. Certain movies addresses social issues, like topics include education, caste, gender equality, environment, communal harmony, and they are very motivational. Like Majhi is one of the very important motivational movie. Swades is very important motivational movies. In that way, Nil Bate Sannata also highlights the importance of education for girls. This is very inspirational, motivational movie. And inspirational storytelling like Super 30, based on the life of a teacher who uplifts poor students, and emotionally engaging like I Am Kalam, a child's aspiration to become Dr. Kalam. And these cinemas are also informative and research based, like Chak De India discusses teamwork, gender bias, and leadership in sports, and again suitable for classroom or community use. Nowadays schools and colleges and even universities are using the cinema as a pedagogy, the power of cinema in the classroom teaching. For example, school life is depicted, campus life is depicted, certain documentaries on certain legendary personalities and so on. Then culturally inclusive and ethical, like Gandhi, positive role models like Dangal, and again you see use of cinema stills in textbook. Recently NCRT also uses some stills from the film Diwar of Amitabh Bachchan to illustrate complex ideas of social justice like dignity of labor. In class 7th NCRT textbook, Social and political lives, part second, uses stills from the war 1974. The scene, the picture is image is on your screen. You can have a glimpse of it. So how cinema is maybe used in textbook, in classroom teaching, and in other ways to motivate the people. Some examples again would include milestones cinema of educational ideas and policies like Jagriti, Boot Polish 1954, a film about orphan children and child beggary, emphasizing need of schools instead of orphanages. Then Jagriti 1955, a movie based on Tagore's idea of freedom in education, innovative methods and excursion in education. Then College Girl, a movie of 1960s, first movie to raise the issue of social taboos in girls' education and girls' struggle against gender stereotypes. And then another movie, Dosti 1964, is one of the motivations of Kothari Commission, recommendations for reforms and innovations in school education. So the power of cinema also lies in the music. In many Indian cinemas, the songs and poetry became the content of morning assemblies in many of the schools of India, almost like we see Tumi ho mata pita tumi ho bandhu sakha tumi ho. This is one of the songs of Indian cinema that becomes the song of morning assembly. In the same way, Itni Shakti Hame Dena Data, that is the song from one of the Indian movies that becomes the morning assembly. In the same way, in the concluding part, music of inspiration comes from Indian cinema that also affects our emotive aspects, as well as they played very important role in our morning assemblies of the schools. Here is one example for you. So I hope you can enjoy the entire song. The link is given and this is available on YouTube. So many other similar songs are there that become the part of morning assembly. So to conclude today's discussion, cinema educates by showcasing real life issues and historical events. It promotes empathy through relatable characters and stories. Films often highlight moral values and ethical dilemmas. Cinema is one of the most effective means to transmit the knowledge traditions to generation next. And last, it inspires dialogue and change within communities and society, but it is not the least. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm leaving you with the beautiful words of Bruce Lee. Life itself is your teacher and you are in a state of constant learning. So thank you very much. See you in the next lecture. God bless you. Take care.